Hey guys, today we got Lewis. He doesn't want to show his face for some reason, even though you already saw it. We got a deck profile for Infernoids today.
Yep.
I don't know what. Yeah, we got Infernoids for you guys, and this is new little Infernoids with reasoning at 1. Now that's at 1. You got a new card anyway, so I'm guessing you're using left arm offering in this. I've seen it.
Yep.
And you're also playing Tiara in this build, so yeah. What do you think of this deck?
It's pretty all or nothing. Doesn't really have any form of sustain. You're pretty much all in on your first turn. But
So it's just like an OTK deck that's all or nothing, glass cannon kind of deck.
Completely glass cannon. You're very dependent on drawing left arm offering or reasoning or monster gate. You do have a little bit of staying power against the slower decks thanks to Harmodic and Petrulia.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, all or nothing on your first turn.
Alright, it's alright if you just do start deck profile now and then maybe if it's possible you can do the combos later on. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, so let's start. 2 on Onku.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
You play 2 because
Plays 2s.
you play Tiara, so if you draw,
Yeah,
you
you
get
need
it.
to play 2 since playing through Tiara.
Yeah.
We don't plan on ever resolving more than one imagination, but
Yeah.
it's nice to have the option.
Yep.
2 debating.
Yep. The heavy storm guy. That
Heavy
one's
Storm.
Dark Hole, this is heavy storm.
Key thing to note about debating, it does not destroy face-up void spell and trap cards, so you can summon it whilst you're under imagination, still use its effect, and then make Tiara afterwards.
Oh yeah, because you can still make the fusions. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
No.
3 Satamas.
Yep, it's the best.
Probably the best card in the deck.
Really, it's in non-targeting banishing, so
Non-targeting banish at the end of the battle phase if it battles an opponent's monster. Most things that have protection, other than stuff like Ultimate Falcon and Magnus, generally don't have very high attack.
yeah.
So it's pretty good against other things. Obviously this deck struggles against Cosmo a bit, but for the most part, Satamas gets you around most things.
Okay. So 3 of this guy. And level 8 guy.
2
Only
Antindel.
Yep.
Only need 2. You pretty much never, well, because of its level, you can never get more than 2 on board anyway.
Yep.
But it's just nice to be able to make rank 8s,
Yep.
especially number 38.
Yep. Attack twice with it as well. Some
Yeah, like,
situations. Good for OTKs, I'm guessing.
Yeah, if your opponent has a bunch of low attack monsters, you can easily just put out 2 Antindels and game them, even for a full board.
Okay, just the 2.
3 Petrulia.
Okay,
Really
this is the MST guy, right?
Yep, MST on legs. Obviously card attack, standard baby Infernoid where it can banish your opponent's turn.
Yep.
Really good, gives you rank 4 access and helps you make level 8 synchros with Decatron.
Yep.
Going forward, probably still going to play 3.
Yep. Pretty good baby. Pops back, right? This is the ultra rare Harmodic.
Harmodic, probably the best baby. Gets
You don't think it's Petrulia, it's this one?
I think this is slightly stronger.
Okay.
Since we already played Galaxy Cyclone and Twin Twister, which we'll get to later,
Yep.
it's mainly just more important to have outs to monsters.
So you can deal more damage.
Yeah, we don't play Raigeki in this build, so it's pretty much your only way to get over monsters.
Yep.
Outside of XYZ is winning them over.
Okay, 3 Harmodics.
3 Antra.
Okay, 3. A lot of people play 2 of this. Why are you playing 3 in this one?
So we're playing 3 mainly because a lot of things these days are just
Indestructible.
too big for the deck to run over.
Yeah.
Judgment Dragon's a problem card. Like, we don't have a way of running it over outside of an Unku, so
Yep.
it's generally just our way to get over things that weren't summoned from the extra deck and are still too big for us to run over.
Yep.
Also, helps get rid of pesky 101s.
And you can dump it with Decatrons to make it level 3, so you can make a level 7 sync.
Yeah,
Level 4.
Antra's great with Decatron. If you've got a Petrulia or a Harmonic, you can still go into a 6 or a 7.
Okay, so triple Antra next.
Then we run 2 PMA.
This is the
Surprisingly good.
this is the Night Beam guy, right? Boy,
Yeah, it's kind of like Night Beam. Target one set card. Doesn't have to be a monster, or doesn't have to be back row. It can be a set monster. Really good against things like Ghost Trick, Shadows, things like set face
Any
down
set
monsters.
cards, yeah. You can't even respond, so yeah. 2.
Yep. Then for our normal summonable monsters, we are running 2 Drakatron and 1 Archfiend Eccentric.
Oh, Axford Eccentric is a tech that you run instead of like the Raiden and something or something like that from Tuna.
We only run 3 targets because we're a pretty all-in build.
Yep. So why Eccentric?
So the reason we picked Eccentric is because it's both an MST if we draw it.
Yep. So it's not that draw.
and if we hit it off reasoning, it can get itself off the field.
Oh, see, so you lose the levels.
Yeah.
And Decatron, obviously, you split the two instead of 3.
Yeah, because it was essentially a toss-up between the third Decatron and the eccentric.
Yeah.
But I think
because the reasoning, everyone will declare a 1, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll hit an eccentric sometimes.
So having eccentric just gives us a bit more resiliency. Although when playing this deck a lot for the first time, people generally expect the light swarm build, so they call it either 4 or 3, depending on how much of your deck you've already been through.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I think it's pretty good there.
So just the 3 targets for reasoning and monster gate.
Okay. Now a little sub-engine. Okay, since we're playing triple Void Imagination and triple Tierra.
So you're playing Curse of the Mass Beast and the Mass Beast. So this is like a vanilla.
Yeah, just a nice vanilla level 8. It's also a fiend, so we can still summon it under rivalry. Very important.
Yep. It's a big.
Yep.
It just works, and it's the biggest.
It's the biggest fiend ritual that we currently have.
That's a normal.
That's also a non-effect monster.
So it doesn't count your levels when you summon this.
Yep. Important thing to note: it is 3/2. It can get over Dark Destroyer. It can get over a lot of the more problem cards in the format.
It's level 8
it also crashes with an equipped Megalo.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yep, in the meta.
But you're never really going to get over an equipped Megalo because they'll just negate the ritual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you explain us later how to summon this? Later. Yeah, later.
So,
later
towards the end of the video, we'll go over the combo and why we play these 2 cards in more detail.
Yeah.
Okay, standard 1-offs. So 1-up start just helps us deck thin.
And
we don't really care.
We want to draw the reasoning or left arm off.
We want as many ways to get to reasoning and monster gate as fast as possible, so this just helps us get there.
You can OTK through 9k life points as well, right?
Pretty easily.
Yeah.
Reasoning?
Obviously.
Joint best card in the deck. It's tied only with monster gate.
Yeah.
Although monster gate's usually better if you have the hand to support it.
Yep.
But most of the time you might not. You have to fetch one of the 2 off left arm offering, so. Yeah, I mean, having reasoning to 1 hurt the deck a lot, but left arm offering kind of picks up the work.
Yep. So 1/1 because they're both at 1 anyway.
Yeah, both at 1.
These 3 are at 1, so all these limited cards.
If we could play 3 of each of these, we would, but unfortunately we can't.
It's fine, we got left arm. So.
Yep. 1 Galaxy Cyclone.
Millable MST, so.
Yep, exactly what you want in the deck. Deck's pretty soft deck is extremely soft to vanities, so we just need more ways to get through it.
Yep.
1 for 1, just an additional way to search for Decatron. Also helps us get monsters in the grave.
Yep. And of course, new card from the Lost,
Yep, Millennium Pack.
Yep.
Probably the thing that saved the deck the most. Triple F arm offering.
You can't set the turn you do it though.
You can't set any back row.
You don't really set in this deck anyway.
Really, the only settable back row we run in this deck we haven't got to yet, and it's 2 Twin Twisters and a Breakthrough skill. Most of the things we're going to activate straight away, or we can just play them as face up.
Yep.
The cost is annoying at times because sometimes you'll just open so many Infernoids and not be able to put enough on the board, and you'll probably waste a card, but generally getting to reasoning or monster gate's worth it.
So banish 2 cards from your hand, banish your whole hand, at least 2 cards, and search any spell from your deck except itself. Do you usually search reasoning or monster gate or void imagination? Does it depend on the situation?
It's very situational. If they have an extra deck monster, and they have low back row, we can search Void Imagination, which, thanks to running Mass Beast, is a 1-card OTK for a clear field. So, generally that's the option we'll go for if you have an extra monster. If not, we have to get Reasoning or Monster Gate.
It's up to luck now at that point with what you mill and stuff. So.
Yeah, there is a lot of luck in how we've written off Monstering and Reasoning, but it's not too bad. You can, on average, you'll go for about 10 to 15 cards.
Okay. Definitely pay for this. It's just really good in this deck. So important.
1 burial from a different dimension.
Yeah, it's recycle your stuff.
Yeah, it's the only form of recycling we've got really.
Yeah.
But we need to play it.
Yeah. Well, you play a lot of one-offs in this deck because
Yeah, a lot
powerful cards.
A lot of the cards are at 1.
Yeah.
Two Twin Twister.
Just the 2, because you've got Galactic Cyclone and Eccentric as well.
Yeah.
And your Infernoid guys pop back row, but
Yeah, we've got just enough spell and trap removal that we're consistently going to draw it without clogging.
yeah.
And it's at the end of the day, it's another discard outlet,
Yeah.
which is always nice in this deck.
Yeah.
3 Void Imagination.
Right, this is the core part of your deck. It's just
Okay,
explain to us what it is.
so
It's a Shadow Fusion, right?
it's kind of like Shadow Fusion, but the main effect that we use is that whilst this is face upon the field, any Infernoids that's original level is 2 or higher are treated as level 1.
Yep.
So it allows us, especially after resolving a Reasoning or Monster Gate, or even the Future Fusion part of Void Imagination, we can easily put a lot of cards on the board
Yep.
and get around the normal level restriction. But it does clog if your opponent doesn't use the extra deck.
Yep.
But if you can get the second effect off, it's insane.
If you have Reasoning in hand or something, do you usually send Decatron?
Yeah,
So
if we have a Reasoning or Monster Gate in hand, we're generally going to dump at least 1 Decatron just to increase our chances of milling.
Yeah.
But the problem is getting a Reasoning or Monster Gate after resolving Void Imagination is that you might not necessarily be milling any Infernoids because we'll be sending 6 from the deck anyway.
Yep. So trip all of this, so you can pull off your combos.
Yep. It's a really silly card, and we'll get onto the combo after.
Triple
And
of
then
this.
finally, breakthrough skill. Only trap in the deck, can mill it, still works.
Yeah.
Gets the job done, and sometimes we just need an out to things like Dark Law.
Yeah. If you go first, you mill this. You got your answer to it. Okay.
Yep. Okay, extra deck.
Extra deck.
Okay. Triple Infernoid Tiara.
So Infernoid Tiara, it's a key card of this deck.
Yep, pretty much the main combo piece right now, since we're very dependent on Void Imagination.
Yep.
Lots of effects, but the ones that we usually resolve are the 3 effect and the 5 effect.
So you mill 3 and then you mill 3 from the extra deck as well.
So yeah.
Both players do it.
So in sequence, we mill 3 from the extra deck, then 3 from the deck.
Yeah.
This is also why we play Mass Beast, because in the extra deck, we also run 2 Herald of the Arclight to send with Tiara.
Okay, so you send, I'm guessing you send these 2, search a ritual spell and monster.
Yep, and by sending these 2, we just get to add both the ritual and the ritual spell to the hand, and it just gives us a way to get a Tiara off the board and replace it with a
Tiara is
non-effect
like
monster.
level 10 or 11 or something.
Yeah, if you don't have another Void Imagination to play after, you can get Locta out your field and then just give your opponent time to stall out. But this just gives you a way that you can just sit, relax, clear your board, and then just make what you need to make to out their board.
So you don't want Tiara on board.
No, you almost never
It
want
stops you from summoning Infernos from the grave.
the only time that you really want Tiara to stay on the board is if you have a second follow-up Imagination to reduce it to level 1.
Oh yeah, and it goes back to level 1 because it's...
But at the end of the day, it's still a 3-4 beat stick. Gets over a few things. Unfortunately, still 3-4, so it doesn't clash with Ultimate Falcon.
Yeah, Ultimate Falcon's 25, so no.
Yeah, that is a fairly problem card for this deck, but it can get over most things.
Yeah, with blue eyes.
Gets over Blue Eyes nicely. Also, thing to note, it does have 3/6 defense, so against Ultimate Falcon, you can just put this in defense mode.
It's a bit hench. Okay. So, triple Tiara. Also, with Tiara, you usually send 2 Herald and another Tiara, right?
We can send another Tiara, but sometimes
Just to give you another Inferno in the grave.
if we, depending on whether we need the actual Inferno name in the grave, we can just send another cop. We can just send Slifer and World Omega, because a lot of decks, especially obviously in Scrub League, a lot of people play decks that work out the graveyard. So we don't want, if they mill anything that we don't want them to have, Omega's just a nice way to reset it after the Tiara's effect.
So you shuffle a card back in the grave to the deck.
Yeah.
And also you can summon it. It's just a good summon anyway.
Oh, it's still a great synchro. Also got a recycling resource.
Recycle your Infernoids as banished, so just want to store Omegas. Quite useful for that.
Yep, pretty much stops you losing to Lunar Lights when you resolve Tiara.
Battle. It's just another body part.
So just shuffle the stuff back in the grave.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so 1 scrap Archfiend.
Yep.
Just a non-effect level 7 synchro.
Yep. So you don't cut the level of it when it's on board.
Helps us get Infernoids off the board, gives us attack, and just generally prevents us from clogging, which is a main problem with this deck. One Armades, just nice to have. The effect's always good. It's still it's getting a little small in this meta, but it still does the role you need it to do. But
Get rid of some floaters, I guess.
pretty good against the Stallia decks, probably.
And it's one of the lower level synchro you can make if you dump, like for Decatron, you dump the level 1 guy, for example.
Yep. Also lets us use Harmonic to make a synchro by dumping PMA.
Yep.
So it's just a nice low level
Accessible level you can use. Okay. Armades.
1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon.
Right, so it stops floating in the battlefield. Stop battle fader and
Yep.
all that. So. How easy is it to make level 7s in this deck? How often do you make them?
Level 7s is probably the easiest to make out of the below 8s.
Yep.
Simply because we can either have Decatron plus Petrulia or Decatron plus Harmonic.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
And then we can dump whatever we're missing, because that gives us 5 or 4, and then we can dump either a 2 or a 3.
Yep.
Surprisingly a really good card, because it stops things like Honest, Colour, Battle Fader, Swift Scarecrow, Electromagnetic Turtle, Necro Gardener, Monster Flex Floating.
Yep.
Also really good against Ghost Tricks, because they can't activate Jack Frost.
They can't drop anything. Yep.
1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend.
Okay, nuke the board guy.
Yep, nuke the board, level 8, you can still... also gives you a way of pushing through some extra damage after the battle phase.
It's level 8 as well, so you can still
Level 8, you can still summon 1 more with it.
Yep.
And generally a lot of the time you'll clear their board, bring back an Antondel, and then make one of the 2 rank 8s.
Yep, which you do play and you play.
So we play 1 Alcei,
Yep.
just because we can name whatever card we need to get out the situation, and if we don't name it, then we just get a free mill and a shuffle away.
Yep.
It's nice.
And if you mill as well, so if you use Alcei
Yep.
and you mill with reasoning or something, you can still trigger Alcei anymore. So.
Yep. So it's just a nice thing. It's also a 3/2 booty, which is always nice to have.
Yep.
Always a good number.
Yep.
Then,
And Titanic Galaxy.
yep. Pretty much
rank 8s in the game.
Pretty much the best rank 8 in the meta right now. Stops Raigeki, stops Stormforth, stops E-Tele, stops Cosmo Town.
Yep.
Pretty much every deck needs to resolve some form of important spell to get their resources going, and this just slows them down.
Yep.
Also helps protect. Maybe you'll have like 1 or 2 baby Infernoids alongside
try
it,
to attack it, you can just
and
save
then you can just save whatever.
Yep.
Okay, since we're in Scrub League, we play
Utopia Lightning.
Utopia and Utopia Lightning.
So this is your route to big monsters, I'm guessing.
Pretty much. If you can play Utopia Lightning, you play Utopia Lightning.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's just so good of a card that if you can play it, you're pretty much forced to play it.
This card just robs games, like it's so dirty, man.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially with Blue Eyes getting popular. Just punishing their sages and maidens, just getting a free attack for
Punch
5k.
Maiden directly in the face with 5k. It's just like, oh.
If you haven't seen the meme of Utopia punching Maiden in the face, go find it. And then Utopia's okay itself.
You never use it though. You just overlay it to Lightning most of the time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I have had a situation where I've made Utopia and then they vanities after.
Okay, so you just have Utopia.
But at the same time, Utopia's fine. It's not great, but it's still a rank 4, respectable stats.
Yeah.
And we can still summon another monster alongside it.
Yeah. Only rank 4.
Then finally, Big Eye.
Big Eye, the rank 7. Should make it with Sights of Mass, I'm guessing.
Yep, made it with 2 sides mass. The good thing about Big Eye is that
Compared to the other rank 7s.
is you can make a Big Eye, put another Infernoid on the field in response. Well, make the Big Eye, then put another Infernoid on the field alongside it. Usually a big one.
Then take the monster. So
Then you can take the monster, and then in response sack the Big Eye, so that you can still summon another Infernoid.
Oh yeah, that works. If you got the big Infernoid, yeah.
Yep, it's the fact that you can take their monster, then sack the Big Eye, just to keep your levels low.
Okay.
It's antimatter.
So that's that.
Yeah. Okay, now is it right to show you that insane combo that we're talking about?
Okay, so
With Void Imagination.
onto the combo. So,
So what cards do you need?
if your opponent controls, it's a 1-card OTK.
So you just have all you have is this, yeah?
Literally, all you need in your hand is this.
Yeah. I'm assuming they don't have like anything to stop you, like vanities or.
This is assuming no interruption.
Okay, so you activate this.
So, we activate this, we use the graveyard effect.
Dump it.
So we're going to fusion summon Infernoid Tiara.
So you summon this. What do you dump? 6 monsters.
So the 6 monsters we done are, we've done 1 Anunku, 1 Deity, as part of the requirement.
So you need one of each of these
Yep.
in the deck or hand.
Then we done 2 Antondel,
Yeah.
and then we draw 2 Saitamass.
2 times mass, 2 hands on that. Okay. So you want them in the grave as soon as possible.
It's the ones we want in the grave.
Yep.
Usually you'll have some form of grave by now, but for
Yeah.
the purpose of the demonstration, it'll just be these 6.
If you have Reasoning and Monster Gate in hand, I'm guessing you'll dump like a Decatron or something as well, right?
Yeah, if we had Reasoning or Monster Gate, we would put it Decatron, but for the purpose of this...
Yeah, because this is just a 1-card version. Okay.
Okay, so
So now this card triggers.
Infernal trigger, so for the first effect, we get to send Herald, and another copy of Tiara.
Yeah, depending on the situation, would you dump A Omega as well?
We can dump an Omega,
Yeah.
but if we have no pre-existing setup, we specifically need the 7th name in the grave.
Okay.
So we dump these 3,
Yeah. Then you mill 3 cards,
then we mill 3 cards.
whatever, and then you
We'll just mill.
then this guy triggers. Hopefully you don't mill the research for this.
Obviously, sometimes you can mill the search, but there are other ways to go from this point in the combo.
Yep.
So then we get a copy of the Mass Beast.
That's why you
and
play one
cast
of
the Mass
these.
Beast.
Yep.
One of each.
Yep.
Then we activate Curse of the Mass Beast.
Yep. Tribute the tiara.
Tribute off the Tiara.
Mate, you can do this on the rivalry.
You can do this on the rivalry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So
that.
now we have no effect monster levels on our board.
Yep. Now this is your grave. Your grave is a tiara as well. So you got 2 tiaras.
So we have all these resources to work with.
Okay.
So at this point, depending on what opponent's got,
Yep.
if they have small enough monsters, we can summon 2 copies of Antondel
Yep.
by banishing 4. And this gives you 2 2800 double attackers and a 3200.
Yep. But depending on what the board situation is, you can summon Saisamas or Onunku or Devyati as well.
Yep, and
Then afterwards, if they're not dead,
you can make
that's a
a,
level 8 and that's a level 8, so you can make a
Yep.
rank 8 play or a rank 7 with
you can still make a rank 8, and then this still doesn't affect your levels.
Oh yeah. So you
So
summon.
you can make a rank 8, say you make Alcé.
Yep.
So one thing we can do is we can make Alcé, we can detach,
Yep.
call whatever, doesn't matter.
Yes, milled, effect triggers.
Effect triggers, we shuffle one away,
Then you can summon another Infernoid.
and then we still have just enough left to summon one more.
Then you make a Titanic Galaxy or attack game or whatever.
Then we'll go to our battle phase and then end on Titanic Galaxy.
Yeah, that combo is insane. That's why you play the ritual bit of
Yep.
this works on the rivalry unless you can summon.
Another version of the combo.
Yep.
If they have a monster that can be targeted, but you can't necessarily beat over,
Yep.
what we can do is we can summon the 2 copies of Saitamass
Yep.
by banishing 4.
Yep.
You don't even know who it is.
We can make
You've never
a
seen
bigger.
Airwolf. Angus, I love fucking aircraft.
I would have legitimately plus.
Then we can detach,
Take their monster.
take their monster.
So depending on the level of monster, if it's like 8 or lower, or if it's a rank, like whatever,
Yep.
now you have 3 again in the grave, so you can summon 1 of them.
And then we can still bring out.
Jet.
Oh, sorry, slight mistake. When you make the big eye, you can't make a Saitamass, but you can make an Antondel,
Where I wish the fucking
and then use that to tribute off the big eye after.
Yep.
But generally speaking, it's just better to use the double Antondel play.
Yep.
Just more damage, and if that's not game, then Saitamass won't punch through the board anyway.
Okay, so that's a pretty insane combo, yeah. It's easy to pull off as well. It's a 1-card combo, which is pretty crazy.
1-card combo.
Yeah.
You do sacrifice some consistency in the build by running this and the ritual spell, but it's okay.
All right.
There has been times when I've drawn it, but you have enough discard outlets that you don't mind seeing them.
Yep.
The best matchup is
Okay, so yeah, that's the Inferno deck profile by Lewis. Anyone else before we finish the video?
Left arm offering still.
Yeah, it's pretty good in this deck. It's insane. Right, cheers for that, mate. Bye.
僕のこと超えるのは僕だけしかないんだから